We should never have gone into that jungle. Even then, we knew better. I'm not a superstitious person. I never have been. I've spent most of my career as a field biologist, traveling to some of the most remote and unforgiving places on Earth, searching for species most people don't even know exist. I'd heard the legends of the J'ba Fofi, the so-called giant spiders of the Congo. I didn't take them seriously. Most people wouldn't. But what we encountered, nothing could have prepared us. I remember that first night clearly. Daniel, our guide, mentioned it casually over dinner. The spiders, speaking as if they were just another part of the jungle, nothing to worry about. The fire cast strange, shifting shadows across his face as he talked. Marie, the botanist on our team, laughed it off, saying she'd seen bigger tarantulas in her own backyard. I smiled along with her, but there was something in Daniel's eyes that made me uneasy. A few days into the expedition, we started noticing small things. At first, it was just the feeling of being watched. Not fear, nothing that obvious. Just the sense that the jungle was paying attention to us. The trees pressed in close, the canopy blocking out the sky, and the air felt heavy, damp, and still. Even the sounds of the jungle seemed muted, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. We found the webs a day later. They were enormous, unnaturally so, strung between the trees like some kind of perverse decoration. Thick, sticky strands, as strong as rope, crisscrossed our path, forcing us to cut our way through. At first, we assumed they were abandoned, relics left behind by some long-forgotten arachnid. Then we saw the prey. Half-mummified bodies of birds and small mammals hung tangled in the silk. Even a monkey, wrapped completely in a silvery cocoon, suspended helplessly above the forest floor. I remember the look on Marie's face when she saw them. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving her pale and rigid, her usual bravado gone in an instant. "This isn't right," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I wanted to reassure her, to say something, anything, but the words caught in my throat. I didn't know what we were dealing with. I told myself it couldn't be possible. It had to be something else. Daniel tried to steer us away from the area after that, urging us back toward camp. But something kept pulling us forward. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was denial. We didn't want to believe what the evidence was telling us. So we kept going, deeper into the jungle, each step taking us farther from the safety of our camp. The jungle grew quieter as we moved on, too quiet. The insects fell silent, the birds vanished. An eerie stillness settled around us, heavy and unnatural. That's when we found the nest. It was massive, a tangled mess of webbing and debris, hidden in a dark hollow beneath an enormous tree. The smell reached us first. Rotting flesh, mixed with something sharp and almost chemical. Flies hovered thick around the entrance. I remember telling myself it was just decay, just the jungle doing what it always does. Still, my stomach tightened as I stepped closer, my flashlight slicing into the darkness. That's when we saw it. Or maybe, that's when it noticed us. The spider was enormous, easily the size of a large dog. Its body was covered in dark, bristling hairs, thick and matted, clinging to it like rot. 8 eyes glittered in the beam of my flashlight, reflecting the light in a way that made my skin crawl. It didn't move at first. It just watched us, perfectly still, as if daring us to come closer. "We need to leave," she said, her voice trembling. But I couldn't move. My mind refused to process what I was seeing. This thing wasn't supposed to exist. It was impossible. And yet there it was, right in front of me. Then it moved. I barely had time to react before it lunged toward us, moving faster than anything that size should have been able to. Marie screamed, and we ran, crashing through branches and vines, thorns tearing at our clothes as the jungle seemed to explode into motion around us. The ground shifted beneath our feet as we tore through the dense foliage. Behind us, the sound of our pursuit grew louder, a skittering, rhythmic clatter of legs tearing through the underbrush. And then I realized something was wrong. There was more than one. It wasn't just a spider. It was a swarm. We burst into a small clearing, the jungle pressing in on all sides, walls of foliage closing around us. The only way out was a narrow gap between the trees. Daniel went first, then Marie. I was right behind her when she suddenly screamed. She was yanked backward, her feet ripped out from under her as something caught her ankle. I turned just in time to see it. A strand of web, nearly invisible in the dim light, snapping tight and pulling her off her feet. She hung upside down, spinning helplessly, her eyes wide with terror as the spiders closed in. I lunged for her, reaching out instinctively, but Daniel grabbed my arm and dragged me back. "We have to go," he shouted, his voice breaking. Daniel shouted for me to move, his voice hoarse with fear. I hesitated, caught between the instinct to help her and the primal urge to run. The spiders reached Marie in seconds, their legs moving with an unnatural speed that made my stomach turn. They didn't kill her, not right away. Instead, they began wrapping her in silk, thick, sticky strands binding her limbs, pulling her tighter and tighter until she could barely move. Marie's screams cut off as the webbing closed over her face, her body jerking in desperate, panicked spasms beneath the cocoon. I tried to go back. I swear I did. But Daniel's grip locked around my arm, iron strong, dragging me away as I fought against him. We ran. Her muffled cries followed us through the trees, fading slowly into the jungle, until all that remained was the sound of skittering legs behind us. The spiders didn't stop with her. They kept coming, faster now, driven by something hungry and relentless. My legs burned, my lungs screamed for air, but I couldn't stop. I wouldn't. We tore through the jungle, branches and vines whipping past us, the trees blurring into streaks of green and shadow. The ground seemed to shift beneath our feet, rising and falling like something alive. Then we saw the river. Our camp was just beyond it, so close it felt unreal. But the spiders were still coming. I could see their shadows flickering at the edges of my vision, darting between the trees, keeping pace with us no matter how fast we ran. Daniel stumbled and went down hard. I turned back to help him, but I was already too late. One of the spiders, larger than the rest, lunged from the darkness, its fangs sinking into his shoulder. He let out a choked scream as his body seized, the venom taking hold almost instantly. I stood there, frozen in horror, watching as the spider began to work. Silk spilled from it in thick, glistening strands, wrapping around Daniel's arms, his chest, his face. The webbing pulled tighter with every movement, binding him faster than he could fight. In seconds, he was barely visible beneath the cocoon, just a vague, struggling shape pressed against the white layers. I backed away, my legs shaking, knowing that if I stayed even a moment longer, I'd share his fate. My mind was reeling, knowing I was next. And then something snapped inside me. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was rage, but I couldn't run anymore. I grabbed a fallen branch and swung it wildly as the spider turned its attention to me. The first blow glanced off its thick exoskeleton. The second struck true, smashing one of its legs. The spider hissed, recoiling, but it wasn't enough to stop it. I kept swinging, each impact sending a shock up my arm, but the spider was relentless. It lunged, and I felt a sharp pain in my side as its fangs grazed me. The world tilted, the ground rushing up to meet me. I hit hard, the breath knocked out of me, vision swimming with dark spots. The spider loomed over me, its eyes cold and unfeeling. I could hear the others closing in, their legs rustling through the leaves. I knew I was finished. Then something changed. The spiders hesitated, their movements slowing, almost as if they were listening. Then, just as quickly as they had appeared, they began to retreat, melting back into the shadows of the jungle. I didn't wait to find out why. I staggered to my feet, clutching my side, and ran. The camp was just ahead. I stumbled into it and collapsed onto the ground, my vision blurred, the world spinning as darkness closed in. The last thing I heard before losing consciousness was the distant, skittering sound of spiders retreating. They skittered, growing fainter, until there was nothing but silence. I woke hours, maybe days, later, alone in the camp. My mouth was dry, my throat raw, like I hadn't had water in an eternity. The spiders were gone, leaving no trace behind. Daniel and Marie were gone too, taken by the jungle, consumed by the nightmare we had stumbled into. I left everything behind, my equipment, my notes, even the photos I had taken. None of it mattered anymore. I just wanted to get out, to leave the jungle, and never look back. I made it to the nearest village later that day, half delirious from exhaustion and the venom still burning in my veins. I tried to tell the villagers what had happened, but they just nodded, their faces grim. They didn't need to hear my story, they already knew. The J'ba Fofi had been in the jungle long before we arrived, and it would be there long after we were gone. When I finally returned to civilization, nothing was the same. I've tried to forget, but the nightmares won't let me. I can still hear Marie's screams, still see Daniel's face, twisted in pain. And sometimes, late at night, I hear it, the skittering sound. Faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable, just outside my window. I tell myself it's only my imagination, but deep down, I know the truth. Whatever you do, don't go into the jungle.